Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. All the Sunday games have been reviewed and are posted, except for the last Sunday night game with Green Bay at Pittsburgh. And I'm going to follow pretty much the exact same format and get right into it. Looking at our team stats, we have Green Bay favored on the money line with a spread of 3 points and a total line of 45.5. Just taking a quick look at some of the rankings, you have Green Bay above average in almost every category, except for how much they allow tight ends to get on them, but they're one of the best ones at stopping the rush, and overall pretty average at stopping the pass. With Pittsburgh, you have them below par on most things, even though they can keep up scoring usually. They're about average at stopping their opponents. They're very bad at stopping the pass, and not too great offensively overall. They do utilize their tight ends pretty well compared to the league average, but they can't quite stop tight ends very well either. But they do use their tight end pretty well compared to the league average. If I swap these over for these actual yardage averages, here they are. And comparing the quarterbacks for this game, you have Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. Both these quarterbacks have about 100 total fantasy points this season, which gives them about the same average of about 17 average fantasy points per game. Jordan Love has 2 passing interceptions and 1 fumble lost to a sack, and Aaron Rodgers has 5 interceptions this season. Here's your averages and your weekly numbers. And then looking at the carries that the quarterbacks get, you get an average of 4 carries for Jordan Love here, which amounts to about 13.7 of the total carry share for the team. Unlike over here with Aaron Rodgers, who gets almost nothing, probably next to 2% or less. Next, with the running backs, you have Josh Jacobs and Jalen Warren. Josh Jacobs has 123.3 total fantasy points this season, averaging 20.5 per game. And Warren has 72.5 total fantasy points this season, averaging 14.5 per game. With no turnovers, here's their averages and their weekly numbers. Looking at their share of carries on the team, Josh Jacobs gets by far the largest with 63.4% of the carries. But this is where we want to see this chart where it's broken down for carries on the team like this, where Warren has the starting position, but gets 31% of the team's carries right now, where instead Gainwell gets about 50% of the team's carries. And now looking at the number 1 receivers with Matthew Golden and DK Metcalf. Golden has 47.4 total fantasy points this season, averaging 7.9 per game. And Metcalf has 86.6 total fantasy points this season, averaging 14.4 per game. No turnovers, and here's your averages. And of course, looking at the team share, you have Matthew Golden with 17.3% of the team's receiving share, and you have DK Metcalf with 31.6% of the team's receiving share. And the number 2 receivers with Romeo Doubs and Calvin Austin. Doubs is averaging 13.1 fantasy points per game this season, and Calvin Austin is just about 9 fantasy points per game this season. With no turnovers, we switch over to averages. And for the team's receiving share, you have Doubs with 21.3% of the total receiving yards, and Calvin Austin with about 10.8% of the team's total receiving yards. And then looking at the tight ends, you have Tucker Kraft and Jonnu Smith, with Tucker Kraft averaging 13.3 total fantasy points per game, and Jonnu Smith averaging 7.5. No turnovers to note, and so here's your averages. And just looking at the team share, you get 22.6 for Tucker Kraft, and Jonnu Smith has a smaller percentage, about 8 or 9%. So there's your matchup. I think that you have the Steelers that really need to make sure they have a strong defense, because Green Bay might be able to poke a lot of holes in their passing game. Green Bay's going to have a stout rushing defense, I believe, so look out for that. If anything, the Steelers might be able to utilize their tight ends to get some yardage, but I guess we'll see what happens. That's only based on what the numbers tell us here, so there's a lot of factors to take place, and we'll just see what happens. So there's your Sunday Night Football preview. I hope that you guys enjoyed and got something out of it, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe. Otherwise, leave a comment on what else I could do better, or what else you might want to see. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching.